I think the cold house has finally made me sick. I got a bit of a sore throat and blocked nose. Same as every morning. Whew, it's freezing this morning. I definitely need my second layer long sleeve out of the car. Oh, that's a bit better. That's warmer. 2 layers of long sleeves and the beanie is a lot warmer. Still freezing. I was woken up this morning by one of the neighbours in a very positive way. That if you had lots of things like that continuously, you'd always have hope to remain positive every single day. As I was saying, I was chatting to a fella at the front of my house just yesterday, one of the neighbours. Very clearly, the middle-aged fella has a form of intellectual disability that's quite severe. He's extremely loud and scary looking, but he's a nice guy. And for no reason whatsoever. Oh, by the way, and yeah, when he's walking around the park just over the fence, he's commenting never-endingly, saying like, "Oh, that's Bob, that's Amanda, that's Chris." So it's a little bit funny. I think whether they want to know him or not, he's with his intellectual disability, he's just incredibly nice, bold, and straightforward to every single person out there, and he just knows and loves and enjoys talking to every single person on the street. So to my point, the guy is very nice. I didn't understand a lot of what he's saying because of his disability, but it was fun talking to him, and for no reason at all, he just randomly started talking, saying he's got 2 lawnmowers, and he said there's a problem with one of them, and he said, "I'll drop it off on your doorstep tomorrow morning." I just nodded and said, "Oh yeah, that's good, thank you. And I didn't really understand what he was talking about or if he was serious, but then I wake up this morning and he has indeed dropped a lawnmower off on my doorstep for no real reason. Well, actually, I think I did mention to him the idea I said in one of my previous videos, that if I'm depressed on disability support pension with no responsibilities, and when I'm not doing the woodwork course, sitting at home here rotting, it's driving me mentally insane. I probably told him about my idea of buying a lawnmower and voluntarily going around and mowing some people's lawns in desperate need that don't have a lawnmower, or things like widowed elderly women that have their lawn hard to control for themselves, and me doing volunteer work like that. He probably heard me say that, and that's probably why he bought the lawnmower. Anyways, back to my morning coffee. What can I chat about of updates for today? Has anything positive other than that happened, and anything negative? I'm trying my hardest while having my coffee to think of something productive I can do today, instead of just being a stereotype NDIS person that just sits home and rots while the government and the taxpayers fork out $180,000, they're telling me, is my budget per year. This is about the most demeaning time in my entire life, needing help from NDIS because of emergency accommodation needed. I don't know. I'm struggling to think of something to do with myself. I really wish I was just working full time. I get endless compliments from the NDIS workers, and yes, I know, you'll say, well, they just look after people with disability, they're probably just humouring you. But if you look at some of my previous videos, I think in the last 1 or 2 episodes back, I showed you some of my artwork, and I think it's greatly above average. I think there's a lot of professional artists out there when walking around Adelaide art centres and looking at their paintings, and I think a lot of those guys' stuff isn't as good as the ones that I'm doing. I mean, I'm not egotistic, I don't mean all of them. I just mean when I went into one of the art centres where they're selling hand-painted portraits and landscapes and stuff, I'd give myself a 6 out of 10. I think and that's being humble. I'm looking at some of them and they're absolute crap. Just like, famous squares. There's like red square next to a blue square and a yellow square. Whoa, no one ever come up with that back in, 160 years ago. That's amazing. But they're probably, of course, established artists, and they can charge $5,000 for a couple of pictures that look like they were done by a 2-year-old while watching Play School. What do you think of my PJ pants? They're pretty artistic. No, I don't wear these. Walk around with these in public. I'm not that bad. Well, if I'm melting going out of my mind, maybe this lawnmower, not being religious, maybe this is like my holy sign. Maybe I need to get up and get this lawnmower working again. Maybe that's the thing that I need to do for today. Maybe that's my sign. It doesn't actually look that old. Okay, maybe I'll do that today. Maybe I'll just start with the simple basics, like seeing if the spark plug is busted or something like that. Give it a clean, buy a new spark plug, get in my car, go out, occupy myself with simple basic tasks, and see if the lawnmower starts working. If any of you guys are the people that subscribed to the channel, you heard me saying in the previous episode I was going to, because I'm going that nuts just rotting in the house doing nothing on the DSP all day, and I want to be out there working, I said I might spend my own money from the NDIS, Disability Support Pension, and go buy a used lawnmower for Facebook. Maybe this is my sign. And if I've got the lawnmower, I get up off my ass and fix it and go mow those people's lawns I was talking about to keep myself occupied. I don't believe in a god, but that is quite a sign. It's quite an extreme coincidence that a middle-aged man with intellectual disability, I don't want to say crazy, just drops one off on my doorstep. So maybe I should pull my finger out my ass, have my shower, and I guess one thing I always tell my son, I thought about many times, that I think you guys would agree with me, and it's a good word of advice to always say to your children, and then that's when they've got absolutely nothing to do and they're lying in bed stereotypically on a Saturday morning after a long week at school, and they've got no idea what to do with themselves, or they're extremely overworked with study, lots of ideas, they can't think of anything they can do with themselves. The thing I've always said to myself to keep myself going with my severe memory disability that drives me bonkers every hour of my life, that I waited many, many years till now to say to my son, this is my expression, I come up with this one, no one else. It doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're always doing something. And you tell me in the comments down below if you think that's a good expression or not. And again, that's not one I've ever heard. That was my own thing that I tell myself thousands of times. So when I'm here and I can't think of what to do and I look around, and there's getting my son back, there's a lawyer and getting my money in a separation that's over 2 years ago now, it's bonkers. Why can't I have my money? High anxiety. I started taking medication again for anxiety. People around me said they didn't recommend it, like they don't think I need it. They think it is just the, I hate saying that, the brain tumor removed the brain damage. They think it's just that. They don't think I actually have any real form of depression or anxiety or anything like that. But I did feel better when I was on something for anxiety, so I've resumed those and see if that can enable me to think a bit more clearly. I can't keep track of, and I can't remember how many days a week an NDIS worker is coming to my house. It's hard for me to remember each day. I think it is 4 times a week. I do not think it's definitely not 7. Alright, this is my idea. I'm going to get up off my arse and keep moving. This video, I'm sorry guys, is not the most interesting, but it's not a TV show. It's real. It's me being have the brain tumor removed, have severe short-term memory, meet a beautiful wife for 8 years, have the time of my life, keep recovering, developing myself, the brain, speech, and my life tremendously better each day, but then it all comes to an end due to insanity with religion, and have not seen my son in over 1.5 years now, and I'm going nuts every morning without the responsibility of being the stay-at-home father that I was, and my wife was the one working as a nurse full-time. I'm going nuts without the responsibilities, just sitting here rotting, and not because I was rotting originally that I wanted more money or anything, but because I needed more help to get my son back and to get my personal rights back, and I couldn't understand how to do the paperwork to have a separation settlement, a divorce. I went to NDIS because I needed them to do my paperwork for me because I couldn't do it. I needed a great deal of help with the paperwork. And it turned out very lucky that I put myself on the NDIS, because 6 months after my NDIS started, I became homeless. I had to sleep in my shitty car, which was actually warmer than this house by a long shot just from my breathing. I had to do that for 2 nights, and then the NDIS woman that, we'll just call her Amanda, that's not her name, Amanda helped me tremendously and increased the NDIS budget incredibly to provide me with my own independent housing here in this emergency accommodation behind me, rather than me continuing to stay with the cheap shit renting flats that I previously was at. It was very cheap, but it was cheap for a reason. It was university students from overseas, and the house was overoccupied. I should never have had to go there. My wife should have been decent to do to me what I would have done for her, and that is no matter how selfish I thought I was or how much percentage of our money that we had in 8 years of our marriage and relationship that I thought I was entitled to, I never for one single second would have ever imagined of keeping 100% of the child and the money and leaving the other person for dead. That's terrible. If I was the world's most selfish person, I still would have given my wife at least $200,000 of the money to have a reasonable house to live at, and I wouldn't have even imagined for one single second on the life of my son, never even imagined of keeping sole custody of the child, myself, and ever imagining not letting the mother see the son. What my wife has done to me, going from an innocent Christian angel to something I can't even give words, it's just unimaginable. I don't know how she lives with herself every single day, looking at our beautiful son, blonde curly hair, it's probably darkened a bit brown like Dad's by now, and manages to live with herself. And NDIS is giving me increased budget to keep supporting me, and I don't want it. I want to be working full time. So let's see what happens. Okay, I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a bit of my painting. I've nearly I do 2 pieces of artwork at a time, because the way in which I paint, the paint always needs to dry. So I gotta, instead of waiting 2 or 4 days in a freezing house, or 5 days, for paint to dry, each round of paint I do around the canvas, I gotta wait for it to dry and then go again and do another lap of painting of my dots. So I always do 2 paintings at the same time, so that while one is drying, I can go do the other one and then come back and forth and continue painting non-stop. The paint in the previous address used to take 8 hours to dry on average, but in this freezing house it takes about 3 or 4 days. And again, just my breathing, when I had to sleep homeless inside my car for 2 nights, is tremendously warmer than this house. The support from the NDIS is quite tremendous. They told me they might be ripping this old piece of shit power box that is like the oldest one I've ever seen out of the wall and putting in something different. I don't need a new one, but something better than that. I turned that on for the first time last night for about 3 hours, and it did next to nothing. It's definitely bitten the bullet and had its day. I think that one is from like 1992. It's like the oldest one I've ever seen. So anyway, I'm going in circles now in my memory. I miss my son like crazy. Daddy loves you, JJ. He's going bonkers without you not looking after you. I wish Mummy would be decent enough to at least, even if she's with another man, which I don't care about, I wish she'd still let me look after you half the time while she's at work, and which they probably need anyway. And then Daddy would take you back home when Mum's finished work. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to start doing. I'm going to try and remember, short-term memory. I'm going to do my painting, and then if an NDIS worker rocks up, which I have the subconscious suggestion feeling they'll be here soon, I will see if they want to take me in the car down to a lawnmower store, and I'll grab my spark plug for this lawnmower and see if that's about the only thing needed to be done to it to get it operating again and clean it out. Hopefully it doesn't have a broken cylinder head or something. So please wish me good luck, guys. Not so much with the lawnmower, but just more getting my son back. And to all those guys in a similar situation as me, nearly identical, saying that they're going through the same tough times. I hope you guys have a good day today. And if any of you guys are watching this video trying to get tips on how to get your children back that you love, I will try my hardest. These videos are not done for attention. There's no form of possible money I could ever make out of this. I don't give a shit about YouTube subscribers. I'm 41 years old, it means nothing to me. On the life of my son, I'm just doing this because I think it's disgusting the way women have way too much power over men in Australia these days, with the law changes they made about 8 years ago, claiming that to stop women in domestic violence being severely injured and murdered, that they would just give women tremendously more automatic rights over things like children and custody and property, and it would just always be the guy who can't have access to the kids and the guy who loses his house, even if he was the one paying it off and working full-time, and the woman just has to automatically be believed with her claims instantaneously, even if they're unsubstantiated. And the woman is looked after incredibly, and more than ever, with the law change 8 years ago, and the man is just plain fucked and needs to move in with mum, with nothing proven, just in case it's true, so that the woman is protected from violence. It's a good idea, but I think they went too far with it. And again, like I've mentioned in the previous videos, I've never given a shit much about Pauline Hanson in my entire life. But not just her campaign main thing of reducing immigration, so Australia does not become like England, that she also has about her third dot point, I agree with incredibly, and I'll be voting for her until I get my son back at least. And that's, she says the same thing, that women have been given too many rights, too much rights overstanding men, and it can do a tremendous amount of lifelong damage to a man with the way that the laws were changed a few years ago. And she is saying it needs to be changed back to something like 8 out of 10 what it used to be, giving women a little bit more rights, not insanely tremendously everything rights. So please click on that like and subscribe button, guys, and if you're a regular viewer, again, I hope there's anything that I'm going through in my videos that I can help you guys get your kids back somehow with some secret I find, or I can help you guys not waste your time like I've done for 2 years already, and I can tell you some tips or outcomes. I'm gonna go do my painting back inside. And the biggest tip I would give to all the men out there struggling with their depression and anxiety is distract yourself with as much daily responsibility as you can possibly think of, like doing the dishes, to go through the least amount of pain in missing your children. See you guys, love yous all, and I wish yous all good luck, and that you don't go through stuff like this. It's not right. The laws need to change. See you guys.